In the previous video, we set up an assistant here. We set up Elizabeth using OpenAI as a framework for doing this. Before I get started on AI-powered conversations, I'm just going to point out that I've added a new one here called Sam. Sam is a business investor, and I'm going to create a simulated conversation with Sam where I'm trying to sell my business and looking for investment. So what I'm going to do is head over to conversations on the left-hand side here. And the plugin, once it's installed, will have an example conversation that we can use as a basis. Now, obviously, you can create your own from scratch, but what this will do is serve as a good example of how you can use conversations in your platform. So there are instructions guiding you through each of the settings, but I'm just going to chat you through them now as well. Firstly, what we do is select the assistant or assistants we want to participate in the conversation. So notice that you can have more than one assistant if you want to. In this instance, all I'm going to choose is one. I'm going to choose Sam here. But what this will do is pull a list of all of the assistants that you set up, and they can participate in the conversation. So I'm just going to choose Sam. Secondly, we choose whether or not this conversation has a memory. So if we ever wanted it so that when someone comes back to the same conversation later on, they might start a conversation, close the page, then come back. If you want them to be able to continue where they left off and have some memory of the conversation, then you can choose yes. If you leave this on no, every time they visit the page, it'll be as if they've started the conversation afresh. It's completely new and doesn't have any memory of any previous conversations. So it depends on how you want people to interact with this conversation. We can give the conversation a prompt or a setting, and this describes what you want to happen in this conversation. So we've defined who is going to be in it. This will define the person or the people involved in the conversation. But here we can set the scene and say what we actually want the conversation to be. So we're saying here, you're the potential buyer of my business. I, as the CEO, am presenting my company for sale and its financial performance. And we can add other things like instructions for the AI, example questions that we want it to ask. And the more context we give here, the better the conversation is going to be. So you can really add some detail as to how the conversation should unfold here. We can also add some conversation objectives. And these are the things that we want the participant in this conversation to do. So we might want them to articulate business value, demonstrate financial health, showcase marketing understanding. And these are things that we can actually test them on. We can choose whether or not these objectives appear on the screen for the user to see. And we can also analyze the user's conversation against these pieces of these objectives. So now we've got that set up and I've added Sam to this conversation. I'm just going to click publish. And we've now created an AI-powered conversation. And what I need to do now is bring that into a page. And we do this by copying a shortcode. So we can see here any page or post or piece of WordPress content that we add this to will display this conversation. So I'm just going to copy this to the clipboard, the shortcode here, and I'm going to create a new page on the platform. So I'm just going to call this example AI powered conversation. And all I want to do is paste in that shortcode that we copied there and click on publish. Once that's saved, we can view the page, and once the page refreshes, we'll see the conversation objectives at the top as we've described them in the instructions. And if we scroll down, we can see our conversation window here, and Sam has started the conversation as described, talking about the business. Now, Sam, as we know, is linked to a prompt here, and I've said, Sam, you are the principal at Empower Growth Capital. I can say something like, "Hi, what is your name and what is your company?" And we can see how Sam will now respond. So Sam says, she's Sam and works with Empower Growth Capital, but brings the conversation back to what we're intending it to be about the sale of the business. So they're saying here, how do you position yourself in the market? I have lower prices than my competitors, and you can have that conversation now with Sam, who will unpick your business idea and ask more questions, about sustainable long-term profit and things like that. And then once the conversation is finished, we have this option here, which will analyze the conversation we have here with Sam against these conversation objectives. So if I now click analyze this conversation, it's also using AI here to look at what we've said, see if it meets the criteria, and it will outline our option, what we've said here. So it said you responded with a brief statement. Um, at this point, your response doesn't include financial data, so it can unpick what we've said and see where we did or did not meet the objectives. So that's our first conversation we've got set up there, and then naturally you could use that um, conversation. So if we go back to AI Powerpack and then conversations um, to create a brand new one. So we just use this example one, but if you want to create a new one, all we do is click Add New AI-Powered Conversation. This one could have a different title, it could have different assistants participating in it, and all the options here. And what it will do is generate a new shortcode, which we can copy into a different page, and we have an entirely new conversation. So you can have lots of different conversations with lots of different assistants all set up on your platform.